When they found him on the hillside, his watch was in his pocket, not on his wrist, inside the folded pocket of his jacket. Wound, still running. His name was Miguel José Viana. He was 34. The hillside was called Morro do Vintém. It's in Niterói, across the bay from Rio de Janeiro. On August 17, 1966, Miguel climbed it in a formal suit, a new raincoat, and 2 eye masks beaten out of a lead pipe. His partner climbed with him. 4 days later, a boy with a kite found them. They were lying side by side on palm fronds. The masks had no eye holes, and in the grass near the bodies was a notebook with 3 lines of instruction. 1630, be at the determined location. 1830, ingest capsule. After effect, protect metals. Await mass signal. The capsules were never found. The organs were thrown out before anyone could test them. This is the cold archive. They were electronics technicians from a town called Campos dos Goytacases, about 300 kilometers up the coast from Rio. Miguel Viana and Manoel Pereira de Cruz. They repaired televisions and built their own radios in a workshop behind Manoel's house.
Tenho certeza de que a Terra não é o único planeta habitado. I'm certain that Earth is not the only inhabited planet.
That's what Miguel had said to his sister. The 2 men were part of a Cartesist spiritist circle in Campos. They studied a book called Vida no Planeta Marte, Life on the Planet Mars, dictated, so the circle believed, by a spirit named Ramatis. They believed contact was possible, not in abstract, in engineering. They were building something. In June of 1966, a homemade device exploded in Manoel's backyard. Neighbors heard it. No one was hurt.
On the 12th of August, I saw them on the patio. They were hammering a piece of lead pipe flat, over and over. I asked what it was for. Manoel said it was an experiment.
What they were hammering was a lead pipe. What it became hammered flat was 2 crude eye masks, shaped like sunglasses but closed. No opening where the eyes would be. You cannot see while wearing them. On August 15th, they tried to go somewhere, bought tickets to Niterói. Manoel fell ill on the bus, and they turned back. The tickets were kept. 4 days later, the tickets were found in Miguel's pocket. Unused. They tried again. And the only honest way to understand what happened on that hillside is to walk it. 9 in the morning. Campos dos Goytacases bus station. Miguel and Manoel board the Via São Santo Antonio coach to Niterói. Seats 25 and 26. They carry an attaché case, a bag with raincoats they haven't bought yet, and a notebook. 5.5 hours later, they step off the bus in Niterói. It is raining. They walk 2 blocks to a shop called Casa Brasilia and buy 2 waterproof raincoats from a saleswoman named Dalva. 9,400 cruceros each. Then they walk to a small bar and grocery called Bar São Jorge on Avenida Marquês de Paraná. They buy a bottle of mineral water. They keep the receipt. They ask for the refund on the bottle. The woman who serves them is Maria de Lourdes Sarelvas.
He kept looking at his watch, the younger one. Every minute or 2 he would look. I thought he was waiting for someone. He was very nervous.
From the bar, the walking route to the base of Morro do Vintém is 1.5 kilometers. From the base of the hill to the clearing where they were found is another 70 minutes. Uphill through brush, in formal suits. They climbed it in the rain.
From the shopkeeper's statement, we estimate they left the bar between 3:30 and 4. After that, no one has come forward.
And for the next 3 hours, there is nothing. No one saw them on the climb. No one knows what they did when they got there, or who they were waiting for, or whether anyone came. At 7 in the evening, a woman named Gracinda Barbosa Coutinho de Sousa was driving home along Rua São Boaventura, 2 kilometers from Morro do Vintém. Her 3 children were in the car with her. They all saw the same thing.
An oval-shaped object, orange-coloured, with a ring of fire around its edges. It was above the hill. It sent out rays of blue light. It was there for about 4 minutes, and then it was not there anymore.
The next morning, a boy hunting birds on the hillside saw 2 bodies in a clearing. He ran down and told a patrolman. The patrolman did nothing. 2 days later, an 18-year-old named Jorge da Costa Alves, flying a kite, found the bodies again. On August 21st, the police climbed up. What they found, they photographed, cataloged, and could not explain. The bodies were side by side. Formal suits, raincoats, new, still crisp. The masks were in place. Next to them, 2 damp towels wrapped in a bundle, small cups made of aluminum foil, a glass bottle empty, and the receipt for its refund. Miguel's wedding ring, tied with string to a small reading glass, placed inside the jacket, and a handkerchief with the initials AMS embroidered on it. Nobody has ever known whose it was. And Miguel's watch was in his pocket, not on his wrist. In the 60 years since, 3 theories have been argued seriously. One by the police who took the case, one by the investigators who came after, and one by a French astronomer who would become the most famous UFO skeptic of his generation. The first theory is the one Miguel and Manoel themselves would have argued for. Contact. The notebook's instruction to await mass signal. The Ramati literature in their workshop. Gracinda's oval of fire, arriving over the hillside 30 minutes after the instruction said to ingest the capsule.
In the absence of any physical evidence of violence, this division concludes the deaths were the result of a failed parapsychological experiment.
But the UFO theory doesn't close the case. Miguel and Manoel had brought between 2 and 3 million cruceros with them from Campos, about $1,000 in 1966 money. Only $161,000 was found on the bodies, $1,000 short. Where did the rest go? The second theory came from the notebook itself. There is a second page. It's a dosage schedule. Sunday, 1 capsule after meal. Monday, 1 capsule fasting in the morning. Tuesday, 1 capsule after meal. Wednesday, 1 capsule upon lying down. They were planning to take something. The mask might have been to protect the eyes from whatever the capsules would make them see. And the raincoats, the towels, consistent with a body preparing to sweat through a chemical experience. No capsules were ever found. And by the time anyone thought to test the organs were gone.
When a second exhumation was ordered in 1967, the pathologist found the tissues saturated with formaldehyde. No toxicological analysis was possible. The organs that could have been tested had been discarded.
In 1990, Jacques Vallée published his own theory. Vallée was a French astronomer, a working UFO investigator, and a skeptic of most UFO investigators. He had climbed Morro de Vintem himself 10 years earlier.
I do not think they were killed by visitors. I think they were killed by people who knew them and who understood how to stage a death that no one would ever investigate seriously.
And Vallée's theory doesn't close the case either. Nobody's does. The last line of the notebook, protect metals, await mass signal, is ungrammatical in Portuguese. There is no subject. There is no object. Nobody has claimed to know what it means. It is in Miguel José Viana's own handwriting. And the watch that Miguel wound before he left his house was in his pocket, not on his wrist. The only person who could tell us why is the person who put it there. On Wednesday, from a different archive. This one in Ohio, inside a retired radio telescope that looked like a football field of metal panels. A man named Jerry Amon sat down with a weekly printout at his kitchen table. It was August of 1977. He looked at a line on the page, and he wrote 1 word in the margin, 1 word in red pen. And nobody in the nearly 50 years since has been able to figure out what transmitted that line. Wednesday, on the cold archive, the signal that lasted 72 seconds and never came back. Sources for this episode are linked in the description. If you spot an error, tell us. The corrections doc is there too. Until Wednesday.